Hi, I'm Alan Sagano. I'm the president of ADS Consulting Group, and now we're going to go into the next column on the Department of Homeland Security's advanced persistent threat that's coming from Iran, and that column is privilege escalation. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Alan Sagano. I'm the president of ADS Consulting Group, and today we're talking about the advanced persistent threats. This spreadsheet was compiled by the Department of Homeland Security about threats coming out of Iran, and we're talking about the column of privilege escalation. So I'm sure you're aware of it, but basically privilege escalation involves getting a user on sometimes a rogue user or sometimes a valid user, and then escalating privilege, typically by adding them to the administrator accounts, domain admins, schema admins, enterprise admins, domain administrators, if you're running an Active Directory. That's one of the most common ways to do it. So let's dig into APT 33. For privilege escalation, they used a publicly available exploit to escalate privileges on a local system. So that was a critical vulnerability that was way back in 2017. And then they had a scheduled task that was, again, that's kind of ties into the advanced persistent threat or persistence, which is the previous column, to keep running something as in case somebody tries to clean it up. And then also using valid accounts for initial access and privilege escalation. And then in APT 34 for privilege escalation, we have a scheduled task again to run a VB script that runs on a victim's computer. And then we have valid accounts to compromise credentials, compromise credentials to access other systems on a victim network, as well as web shell, which is a backdoor, which ties into persistence as well. On APT 35 for persistence, looks like there was nothing. On 39, they had a scheduled task to run, as well as using valid accounts compromised with OA and web shell. Kind of the same as the other one. And then copy kittens, other one being the persistence column from the previous one. Copy kittens didn't have any privilege escalation. So if we look at this, scheduled task, valid accounts, probably the most two common ways they're getting in. And then one time it was a exploitation for privilege escalation. For this one, stay up to date with patches. That can be a countermeasure to prevent against privilege escalation. On scheduled task and valid accounts, what you really want to do is you really want to monitor group membership of all those privileged accounts. Monitor group membership like a hawk. So we recommend to configure your SIM, have a SIM, a security information event monitor, that checks for group membership additions to those privileged accounts and generates at least a warning or an alert. That is super important, as well as new account creation. That's important. But group membership is probably really important to try to pick up on something like this. Also, you may want to look for, if you're doing an audit in Active Directory, look for accounts that were created in the last, let's say, 90 days and make sure those are all legit. But best practices are, especially for enterprise and schema admins and Active Directory, you want to have zero membership in those groups, period. And what you do is, if you're doing a task that is supposed to, you need those rights, you add the person in, do your scariness, and then take the person out. That is best practice by far. So you really don't want to have anybody in enterprise or schema admins ever, period, in Active Directory. So that kind of sums up what you can do to protect yourself against privilege escalation. So SIM, monitor the group membership, do a regular audit of Active Directory, stay up to date with patches. Hopefully you picked up something on this. If you like this content, please hit that subscribe button. We'll keep making it. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.